is from a guy named Goofy Theories, or a girl. They say, my ex broke up 1 year ago. My ex and I broke up 1 year ago, and it seems like I can't get over her. She broke up with heavy accusations of me being a narcissist, which I am definitely not. A friend of hers even had to convince her that I am. I tried dating other girls and working on me to become a better person, but nothing seems to help. I always have the feeling that I lost someone important because of a lie. What can I do?
Well, so that the lie was introduced late in that question.
No, the lie is that he or she is a narcissist.
So that was the basis of the breakup.
So you're dating someone. They say, I don't want to date you anymore. You're a narcissist.
Oh, that's not a lie. That is an insult. That is
But I think the reason the person feels that it's a lie is because a friend of his ex had to convince her that he was a narcissist.
Oh, a friend. Oh, I see.
So
The friend spoke to the girlfriend in this case, said you're dating a narcissist. Yeah. She buys into that, says we're breaking up because you're a narcissist. Yeah. And I understand. Okay, I got it now. I'm on the team.
Well, so I'll cover the narcissist part, and then you cover the getting over a breakup part, because I feel like you have thought about that a lot, right?
Okay.
So I don't think that this person broke up with you because of the label of narcissist. I don't think they went, oh, I can't be seen with someone who is a narcissist. My guess is that your behavior caused that label to make sense in their head, if that makes sense. Because if you weren't doing anything that they disliked, and then their friend came up and was like, oh, this person's a narcissist, they go, well, I'm really happy with this person, and every single thing this person does makes me really happy. So I would focus less on the word, and I'd focus more on like what behavior do you think led to the breakup? Because there's no way if this person were really, really happy that they would break up with you over this, that I can see, at least. I won't say no way. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So instead focusing on, okay, what are they trying to say when they use this term that's totally inaccurate, right? You're not a narcissist. A therapist has confirmed it.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't thoughtful in the ways
exactly.
that she wanted me to be.
Maybe what they're saying is that this person came to watch your sports because you're on a sports team, come to your sports thing over and over, but you never went to see their sports team. Or, they always had to come to your house or whatever it is, which I don't even think any of things are good or bad, but there might have been behavior that you were doing that this person didn't like. So I'd look more into your actions and how your actions made your ex feel than I would worry about this label.
Those actions, whatever they were true. I mean, whatever happened.
Yeah.
And if that person didn't like it, well, either you can reflect and go, okay, they didn't like that. As I reflect on that, I don't want to be like that. In my future relationships, I'm going to make a change.
Or I'm totally cool with those actions. I actually do always want the person to come to me. I do never want to go to their house. Mm-hmm. And so I'll just find somebody who's happy with that because my ex thought that was a deal breaker.
Yes.
But yeah, so I would focus on the behaviors that you had while you were dating.
And then, of course, the other thing is I know that what sticks in your mind is, oh, we broke up based on a lie. But certainly, if you'd met someone else 4 months later that you really liked and you were hitting it off, I don't think that this would linger in your mind as a recurring issue. The feeling attaching it, oh, we broke up because of a lie, is deeper. This person is right for me. Is what's beneath that. We were supposed to be together.
If not for this lie, we'd still be together and happy.
And that would be better for me. Mm-hmm. Life would be better if I was with this person. So, gosh, what to say about getting over a breakup?
Yeah. How do I get over a breakup?
So I think the first thing is, people talk about closure. That is not something that happens. It's something that you give to yourself, right? And so you feel that you haven't gotten closure because this relationship wasn't really over because it ended under false pretenses. And I think Ben's first point is it didn't actually end necessarily under false pretenses. Like there was enough interaction between you guys that this person didn't like, and she might have called it narcissistic when it wasn't, but if this person tried to label you a narcissist and they agreed that a narcissist was someone that made her feel sparkling in rainbows every single day, she would just keep dating the narcissist.
This happens, by the way. There are actual narcissists out there, and their girlfriends or boyfriends cannot be convinced to break up with them. Their friends are unable to, despite trying a lot.
Sure.
And it's because that narcissist is creating addicting feelings in their partner.
Sure. And let's even take it further and say that this friend is an evil mastermind and just wants this friend all to themselves and hates you and poison the well, all this kind of stuff. Well, ultimately, the person that you were dating values their interaction with them above yours. And And maybe one day they won't and they will come back. But recognize that what you have in your head is, no, we had this perfect relationship, and then reality came in and blemished it. Reality being this friend, reality being this label or this thing. And the truth is, the relationship was not perfect. The relationship was the black spot plus the other stuff as well. And it was so not working that it's over. And I know that this is often hard for people to wrap their heads around, but that signal that this person is no longer with you is the best closure that you could possibly ask for. They have chosen not to be with you, which means, let's say that you did talk them back into getting with you. You think that wouldn't linger in the back of your mind that at any point this person could have somebody come in and say, that person is a narcissist, this person is selfish, he's a jerk, and within who knows how long that this could all happen again, that you're with someone that doesn't want to be with you through a label. So I know it's tough, but if you were able to remove this one thing, it would happen again, and you would be broken up with again, and you'd start this whole process over. So this person has, in a weird way, done you a favor of not doing this over and over and over again for the rest of your life. The relationship is over.
Okay, so that philosophically sounds good,
Yeah.
right? I can nod along. I can be this person and go, okay, fair enough. That makes sense. We were supposed to break up. It's not the friend's fault. That does not help me feel any better at 2 a.m. when I'm lying in bed lonely with a knot in my stomach, right? And I know that one of the hardest things that you went through emotionally was a breakup, right? Where you had that. I think a lot of people have that lingering doubt, that upset stomach. So let's say this person buys in philosophically to everything you said. How do they now feel better?
Got it. So there's a couple of things, and I'll start small, and I'll zoom out to the big picture. I kind of went big picture with the philosophy there. Going to small, the problem is things that trigger you, right? Something happens and it makes you think of them, your song, your this, your photo, your that. And now you're somewhere you could be having a perfectly good time and you're suffering in your own head.
Got it.
The specific behavior that you want to do is to learn how to snap those thought chains, which have worn themselves in. And so in real time, I made a video why you don't feel good enough. You could do eye scrambling techniques, which is essentially you start yourself on one of those chains. You're thinking about someone, hum happy birthday while making your eyes go around your head. So you go, and it's tough to get back to wherever you were at the end of that. And
so at a high level, a state break.
It's just a break.
You're saying you're caught in a mental loop. That loop will run forever, but you can interrupt it, right? We had a friend that used to throw blueberries at you, right?
Yes. You'd throw blueberries when I'd be sad and pelt me. So
not always useful. Not always useful.
Not always.
But can be appropriate at times.
Yeah.
It would make you laugh.
Make me laugh. So any sort of a state break in that moment, very valuable. Another thing that is worthwhile is to, and this is zooming out a little bit, is to write what you truly want. Because what you think you truly want is this individual, but that's not what you truly want. What you truly want are feelings, right? What you want is to feel accepted, loved, understood, connected, safe, etc. So start with the feelings and then translate that to a person agnostic description of an ideal day. And for you, honestly, I think you want to get, in my experience, I'm trying to get to a point where it doesn't include necessarily having to have a romantic partner, but let's say that yours does. And you write down your ideal. I wake up, this person is next to me, they're loving, we do this together, we do that together.
But don't imagine your ex.
It's not your ex. It could be anyone. And what you'll realize is...
Anyone but your ex.
It could be anyone but your ex. And what you realize is, oh my gosh, there's things that she wasn't that I really would like. And the absence of her opens the door for this something better. And writing it out makes that something better a bit more concrete.
And that was really hard for me when I did it while I was in a relationship. Because I was in a relationship and unhappy. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try to write down my ideal partner. And I kept coming back to things about my girlfriend. And this person might have the same thing with their ex at first, right? So if you sit down and you struggle with this...
Genie in a lamp.
The best thing you can do is sit uninterrupted and allow yourself to think and write, and don't expect to get it right away, because it takes a little bit for your mind to imagine someone besides the person that you've idealized.
Yeah. And how about someone who doesn't break up with you because their friend told them that you're a narcissist? That could be the first thing you write down.
And you start to forget, because a lot of times our brains will lock in on the person we're with or we were with. You forget what's possible, right? And so my friends and my ex did not get along. And I had to sit there for a solid 5 minutes, which is a lot of time when you're sitting alone with a piece of paper, before I realized, you know what would be great? when I would go over to hang out with my friends, I'd say, oh, I'm bringing my girlfriend. And they'd go, sick. She's great. That would be amazing. And I didn't have that. But that doesn't come to me in the first 30 seconds. The first 30 seconds, I'm only thinking of the things that I want that she had. Because she did have, oh, she's funny, she's smart, she's this. And I'm right now, I'm like, oh man, this is the girl I'm with. Like, why aren't I happy? And once you get through all that, then you kind of start to get to the other stuff. So I think committing to the exercise is important, because your imagination has been stunted by yourself in order for you to be obsessed with your ex. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You had to assume she was perfect to love her and be infatuated by her. And so now you have to retrain your brain that, oh, actually, she was allowed to have flaws.
Yeah. And what you're describing, you said, I believe you said he'd gone on a full dates or dated some other people. And
I don't know. What did he say?
Yeah, he said that I tried dating other girls and working on me to become a better person, but nothing seems to help.
Got it. So one of the things that I also experienced, particularly on the early part of this relationship ending, was a strong desire to go out there and meet someone else. And then once I was with them, if we were sleeping together or even just hanging out, it's not her.
Aggressively comparing to your ex.
Aggressive comparisons, at which, of course, they could never live up to, because the ideal in my mind was, as been described, she has to fit to the shape of my ex, is basically what you need to be from a personality, physical, everything. Like, fill this exact void. So that's going to take some time necessarily, and it's not crazy that you could go on several dates or date several people and feel that they don't measure up. Very, very normal. Just saying that. And then we move to the bigger things. So we've got state breaks. We've got getting concrete on your ideal life. You can similarly with that, right? How am I going to turn this into a good thing? What sort of changes? I know you described this, but because of this breakup, I'm going to dedicate myself to music in a way that I hadn't before. I'm going to do this. And if it's to show them, that can be a fine first motivation, but we want to move away from that as quickly as possible. Similarly, there's I'm going to step back. Small things. Delete them on social media. Do not. I mean, if you've looked at their Instagram, shame on you. Never, ever, ever again. You're not allowed to do that. That's done. That's over. Delete that. One of the other things that I could never do is delete her contact information. So what I did was I just labeled it your ex. So if I ever glanced at it, it said, this is what this person is. Those things seem small. They are important. And then we get to the big thing, which is essentially, why would you, I don't know how long you dated. Did he say 2 years? Or he didn't mention? But it's been a year
1 year
since.
ago.
1 year ago.
Yeah,
we don't know how long you've been together, but how is it that someone could meet an individual, and I don't mean this as any insult to your ex, that everyone else in the world describes as a person, maybe a nice person, a kind person, but not essential to their life, other than her immediate family maybe? How is it that you could meet them, presumably not be together for a decade, I'm guessing less than that, and a year later be so stuck on them? And what you'll find if you do therapy or ayahuasca or a lot of things is because this person is fitting, in many cases, the mommy role, which is to say that we have these deep-seated wants and needs in our brain. And the mommy role is someone who loves us, who is perfect for us, oftentimes and if, might not have been there as much as you want, which is perfect because now the sex is gone and she fits the mommy role even more perfect. And what you want to do is find a way to deconstruct that idealization of this individual.
Yeah, and just to clarify, because I would have had pushback on this if I had heard
Sure.
you say this 10 years ago. You don't mean in an Oedipus way. You don't mean a mommy role like, oh, they are like your mother and you want to have sex with your mother. You're saying that there's this desire for someone to love you unconditionally. Because a lot of times as humans, Tony Robbins says, one of our deepest insecurities that we all share is that we're not good enough and therefore we don't deserve love or no one will love us, right? And so when you have this girlfriend, there's this peace that even with all of her flaws, at least she loves you unconditionally and will forever, and therefore you are okay, right? And so a lot of times when you have a breakup, it's not that you miss the person's conversation. It's not that they're so much funnier than all your friends. It's not that they sent you the most riveting self-improvement things, but it's that their presence made you feel okay because someone loved you, quote unquote, unconditionally. And now they're gone. There's a terrifying fear that you will never fill that void and therefore you will be alone, right? That's what you mean when you say that they fill this.
Sure. Yeah. And I do think that it comes from a mommy thing. We made a video that's called, I think, Why We Love People Who Hurt Us. And I know that this is perhaps less palatable, but my belief is that we learn all of our critical definitions about life very early, before our memory. Like, for instance, you learn to walk prior to being able to remember it, but you do it every day. You learned your accent. You learned many of the words, in fact, probably all of the words that you use on a normal basis before your memory kicked in, which means that you also learned what love meant, the deepest kind of love, when you were an infant. And that comes, in two forms. You've got often a male primary caretaker and a female, who in most senses are your mother and your father. And if you do something like therapy, or you do something like ayahuasca, which can help you to unravel this, but you can also do some free writing on how this person might relate or connect to this, what you'll often realize is that these people have very similar traits to that primary caretaker, and that there is a part of us that is always trying to get back to, as you described, to that primary state of completeness, connectedness. They took total care of me, and I felt peace when they were present, disturbed when they were gone. So I don't want to tell you to do ayahuasca, but that's kind of what unraveled it for me. I had one epiphany. I think I'll briefly tell the story. I was under the influence of ayahuasca. I was going, why this relationship? I've had so many. Why is this one sticking with me? And I went through my brain and I was asking myself questions. What about this girl? I don't care about her. What about this girl? We don't care. We're over that one. We're over that one. What about this one? Oh, call her right now. Where's your phone? I said, why? And what came back was, oh God, I can't even remember exactly the words that came back to you. It was essentially,
it's like, she takes care of me and you don't.
She takes care of me and you don't, which is a very mommy thing to experience. That, oh my God, this person was providing for my most basic need to feel safe, loved, and enough. And what I realized is with this particular individual was the only time I let myself watch movies. It was the only time I let myself eat junk food. It was the only time I let myself take my brain off of work. The only time I didn't have to be self-improving was when we were on a date, because that date was self-sufficient in itself. And so I don't know if it's through therapy, I don't know if it's through something, but the biggest thing that's going to stop this cycle from happening again, because you will just get into another relationship, you will probably attach to them in a serious way, and it's likely that a year later you'll be like, oh my God, that was my person, is to start to unravel this need for someone else to make you feel complete. And that is a big project. I wish you Godspeed. I can't possibly cover it in this thing, but we do have a handful of videos. Why you don't feel good enough, why we love people that hurt us. The ayahuasca video, go deeper into it. So it's a big one. And then, I hate to say it, because I know you're a year in, time heals all wounds. Eventually, it happens. Yeah. So
you and I have totally different strategies.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
What was yours?
Mine is mostly to get rid of the idolizing the person. My thing that I found is that often with exes, it's most upsetting when you think that they're perfect, and that the more you can see them as they are, as the rest of the world sees them, the better off you are. So a lot of the things that have helped me is sitting down and going, oh my God, I miss talking to her on the phone so much, and going, well, what was that actually like? What was that experience like if you remove the fact that she was your life partner and you guys told each other, you're my person and I'll be there forever, right? And just the pleasure of the phone call, what was that? It's like, well, it was talking to someone about their friends who some I liked, some I didn't like, and hearing about the minutia of a day that I didn't really care about. It's like, okay, could you get that elsewhere? Yeah, I could probably get that from basically anyone I date, right? Well, if you really desperately want that, could you get it right now? Yeah, actually in a way better way. I could call my hilarious friend I haven't talked to in a month and I could hear how they've been. And I would go do it. I would call my friend. I'd have a really good phone call. I'd go, wow, that was actually way better than my conversations were when I talked to my ex, right? And I would try to do that. I'd be like, oh my God, she was so wonderful in all these ways. And I go, okay, well, maybe that's true. But like, how often was she actually that wonderful? And how often was she more like a regular person? And how often was she actually causing you dissatisfaction and anger and unhappiness? And even if it's a great relationship, you'll think of instances. And often if it's someone you've broken up with, at the end of the day, when the rose glasses are off, you can see the relationship for what it was, blemishes and all. And even if it was mostly good, you go, yeah, I can replace that. I can't replace perfect, always takes care of me, always fun, everything's great, but that's not what it was anyway.
Yeah.
What I can replace, maybe if it takes more than a year, so be it, is whatever it actually was.
Sure.
You just realize that it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. The other thing, and I know it's been a year, I presume you've done this, but I'll say it just in case, is when we're in a relationship, we often separate from our friends. And when you get out of it, I think it's very important to get back into that. One of the things that pulled me out of sadness so many times was getting back, and I actually do think it's important to getting back to my male group of friends, because when I was in a relationship, what naturally happens is that you kind of even each other out if you've been together for a long time. So if you're normally more on the masculine side, you become softer and more feminine. It's the way in which people grow in relationships oftentimes. And I would say that they, the women that I were with were becoming more masculine, more assertive. They were learning these types of things from me. When I got out of it, I lost my center. And so getting back to my group of friends, which as unhelpful as it might sound, they're like, dude, what are you sad for? They would like haze me.
Yeah, no, it would just be like, yeah, we would just say your good traits and why it was like absurd that you thought you were never going to find someone.
Yes, it was positive and sometimes, but it was also even sometimes like, dude, shut up. I'm tired of your bitching. And I was like, oh my God, that was never how my girlfriend and I dealt with problems. Like this masculine, like, dude, suck it up was actually helpful for me to get back to. And I know people are going to be like toxic masculinity, suck it up, but I was so in my feelings, which was kind of what I
there's a balance. There's a balance. Listen, if you break up and you never are sad and you're sucking it up and you're sucking up all the time,
then cry something.
You need to get in touch with your sadness.
Yes.
But if you're moping around a lot, then you need to get in touch with your not mopey side.
And so my friends who would literally laugh at it, tease it, poke fun at it, throw blueberries at me when I started whining about it, like that was the type of stuff that made me get back to my single center.
And if I had to say it, I would say...
And for women, I would actually say I think that there's value in getting back to your female group of friends and living in that for a bit. I'm sure that it's got other corollaries, which I haven't experienced. But
No, and I think being around people that don't think it's the end of the world, that's the biggest thing. Because I actually went through a breakup, and I was talking to my really good friend who's super masculine, and he's like, oh, dude, that's crazy that you broke up with her. She's the kind of girl I would have put a ring on it. I was like, wait, what? What? But you're someone I look up to. Like, have I made a terrible mistake? And so I think for you, the biggest thing was you were hanging out with people that just thought it's not the end of the world, man.
Sure.
Like, she's cool in ways, she's not cool in ways, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And every communication they had, whether they were being teasing or listening intently, it all came from an emotional center of, at the end of the day, you're going to be fine, and this isn't the end of the world.
Yeah. Well, I appreciated both because, for instance, I would talk to my mom, more feminine, and she would be so, are you sure? Is this a good idea? Are you? And she was very soft, and it was helpful at times. And then it was also helpful to come back to Benji and have him throw blueberries at me, tell me to shut up, and like get over it. So it was funny. I would ping depending on what I felt like I needed a little bit more of in the moment between those.
What was the worst thing you did when trying to get over a breakup?
What was the worst thing that I did? I mean, I don't fault myself for it, but certainly it was the stop, start nature. If you just look at what's going to make this end the fastest.
You're saying you kept hooking up with her after you guys broke up?
We broke up and then we're on and off for a year. And one would imagine that after that year, if we had just broken up, that it would have been over at that point.
Got it.
So certainly the duration and the net amount of suffering.
Well, sorry, what if your goal... Okay, so what if your goal isn't... I'm not saying what was the worst thing you did for getting over your ex.
Yeah.
I'm saying what was the worst thing you did for your mental health or your happiness?
Instagram. By far. Looking at her on Instagram, watching her things, I still remember the caption seared into my brain of her and her boyfriend, her new boyfriend, when they got together. And it was something like, oh man, real men have beards, because this guy had a big beard. And I was so angry, sad. I was ready to cry murder, and because I can't grow a beard.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's obvious to everyone. And I felt targeted. One day I'll ask her. I was like, did you send that as a poison dart did you send that out for me? I'm very curious. But it was Instagram, man. And then the other thing is, man, the image would just sit in my head. So social media, by far, anything that allows you to stay connected to them and reminded of them is awful. And quite frankly, it might have been all social media entirely. Just being reminded that so many people outside of my, like, not being grounded in my immediate experience. I'd be out to lunch or dinner with you guys and would be out somewhere else. And I think social media only facilitates that further to go, oh my God, she's at the club right down the street right now. If I walked in there, what could happen? It's like, didn't need to know any of that. So would have deleted her from social media, or at least just hit her, got off it myself.
Nice. Anything else?
Anything else? That's the biggest one when I think of the sadsies that I had was just scarring. It's like, I'll just check first. No.
what harm could possibly happen?
And it's funny because I was compelled to. I wanted to. I had to see what was going on. I wonder oftentimes if, because I could never do it, I don't know. I wonder if deleting her number might have helped more and just giving myself that, whatever that mental
I can never
closure
contact
is.
her.
Which, of course, I mean, it's 2020. Like, finding someone is not that hard. But I never allowed myself to delete the number. I was like, this might come in handy someday.
Interesting.
So, I don't know about that, but certainly Instagram was the worst for me.
All right.
Cool. Anything else?
Yeah, one more.
That was a long meandering.
Justin's not impressed with our brevity.
Sorry, man. Breakups are hard. I mean, that's the truth.
That one's good. So the next one and last one's from Ed.